Welcome to Sacred Stories, where we delve into the profound tales of faith, history, and tradition that shape our Christian heritage. Today, we invite you on a spiritual journey as we explore one of the most revered and mystical celebrations in the Christian calendar, Corpus Christi. This sacred feast, dedicated to the Holy Eucharist, is a cornerstone of Christian devotion, rich with history and divine significance. In this video, we will unravel the fascinating origins of Corpus Christi, tracing its roots back to the 13th century, a time of deep religious fervor and miraculous events. We will recount the tale of a doubting priest, a miraculous bleeding host, and a visionary nun whose divine insights led to the establishment of this holy feast. From the powerful miracle at Bolsena to the divine visions of St. Juliana of Liège and the pivotal role of Pope Urban IV, we will explore the profound events that affirmed the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist and instituted the Feast of Corpus Christi. Whether you are a devout believer, a history enthusiast, or simply curious about the Christian faith, this story promises to inspire and deepen your appreciation for the mysteries of our faith. Join us as we delve into the captivating history and spiritual significance of Corpus Christi. Before we begin, please take a moment to subscribe to Sacred Stories, leave a like, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support helps us continue bringing these enriching stories from the Bible and Christian history to you. Also, don't forget to share this video with your church group, family, and friends, so they too can join us on this enlightening journey. Now let's embark on this sacred exploration together. In this exploration, we will clarify what truly happened. So let's delve into the history. The story starts in the year 1263. At that time, Europe was a tapestry of fervent beliefs and intense religious practices. Among these was a priest named Peter, who came from Prague, a city in northern Italy. Peter was experiencing a significant crisis of faith, doubting the real presence of Jesus Christ in the Holy Eucharist, which deeply troubled him. Seeking answers and to strengthen his faith, he embarked on a pilgrimage to Rome, the eternal city. Pilgrimages to the tombs of the apostles, St. Peter and St. Paul in Rome, were common among the faithful, who sought to bolster their faith and receive divine graces. Peter set off from Prague, passing through various regions on his spiritual journey. During his travels, he stopped in Bolsena, a city renowned for its devotion to St. Christina, a virgin and martyr from the 3rd or 4th century. Bolsena, with its large and picturesque lake, was a place of deep faith and religious history. St. Christina, known as the Saint of Misfortunes, endured numerous martyrdom attempts due to her steadfast faith. Despite being born into a pagan family, she converted to Christianity at a young age, defying her parents' wishes. Her father, a prominent figure in Bolsena, was enraged by her conversion and subjected her to various tortures to make her renounce her faith. According to tradition, all these attempts failed due to miraculous interventions. Eventually, he tied a heavy stone to her body and threw her into the lake of Bolsena, expecting her to drown. Miraculously, the stone floated on the water, supporting Christina and preventing her from sinking. If you're curious to find out what happens next, please click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and continue watching the video. As the stone carried St. Christina, protected by divine intervention, this miraculous event showcased God's protection of her amid adversity. Furthermore, as she floated on the stone, her footprints remained imprinted on it. These footprints have been preserved over the centuries as a symbol of the miracle and a sacred relic for the faithful. The footprints have become an object of veneration for local Christians and pilgrims visiting Bolsena for healing, protection, and spiritual guidance. Witnessing the miracle, Christina's father collapsed and died. Though Christina survived, she continued to face numerous martyrdom attempts, always saved by divine interventions until her death. Devotion to Saint Christina was strong in Bolsena, attracting many pilgrims to her tomb, seeking blessings. In this atmosphere of deep religious devotion, Priest Peter decided to celebrate a Mass, seeking Saint Christina's intercession to bolster his faith in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist. During the Mass in Bolsena, an extraordinary event occurred. Still grappling with his doubts, Peter lifted the consecrated host during the moment of consecration. Suddenly, the host began to bleed. Blood flowed from the host, staining his hands and the corporal, the square cloth on the altar. This miraculous event astonished Peter and the faithful present, who witnessed it with awe and reverence. Peter, overcome with emotion and spiritual relief, could not continue the Mass. He carefully placed the bleeding host on the corporal, and with tears of joy and renewed faith, retreated to the sacristy. As he walked, drops of blood fell on the floor and altar steps, leaving permanent marks that would become sacred relics. The news of the miracle spread quickly, and other priests came to verify the event. All were amazed by the visible evidence, the blood-stained corporal and the bloody stones. Filled with gratitude and still in shock, Peter decided to take the blood-stained corporal and report the miracle to Pope Urban IV, who was in the nearby city of Orvieto. Upon arriving, Peter recounted the event in detail. The Pope, deeply moved, recognized the miracle as a divine sign of Christ's real presence in the Eucharist. He remembered the vision received by Saint Juliana of Liège, which highlighted the need for a feast to celebrate the Eucharist. Let's take a moment to delve into this fascinating story. Saint Juliana of Liège was instrumental in the establishment of the feast of Corpus Christi. In the early 11th century, as a young nun of 16, she began having mystical visions that called for a special celebration dedicated to the Eucharist. In one vision, she saw a bright white disc with a dark spot on one side. This image puzzled her, and she spent many years in prayer to understand its meaning. Juliana eventually realized that the white disc symbolized the Church and its devotion to the Eucharist, while the dark spot represented the lack of a feast honoring the Holy Sacrament. Although Maundy Thursday commemorated the Eucharist, it was also linked to the sorrow of Christ's Passion. Juliana understood that Jesus desired a joyful and solemn feast dedicated solely to the glory of the Eucharist. Despite her hesitation, Juliana eventually shared her visions with a trusted priest named Jacques Pantaleon, who believed in her experiences and encouraged her to spread the message. Years passed, and Juliana's visions were forgotten after her death. However, Jacques Pantaleon later became Pope Urban IV. When he heard Peter's account of the miracle, he was deeply moved and immediately saw its significance. Recalling Juliana's vision, he recognized the miracle as a divine sign. He decided to verify the authenticity of the event and promote the institution of a new liturgical feast. Pope Urban IV assembled a group of esteemed theologians, including St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Bonaventure, to investigate the miracle. These men, known for their wisdom and piety, were sent to Bolsena to examine the evidence and gather testimonies from witnesses. They conducted a thorough investigation, confirming the authenticity of the miracle and solidifying its significance within the Church. After the miracle was confirmed, the theologians prepared to return to Orvieto, bringing along the sacred relics, including the blood-stained corporal. As the news of the miracle spread, many locals, filled with reverence, joined the delegation. The crowd grew as people from nearby villages and towns joined the procession. As the group neared Orvieto, Pope Urban IV, having received word of the miracle's verification and the arrival of the sacred relics, decided to meet the procession. Accompanied by clerics and church dignitaries, the Pope dismounted from his ceremonial vehicle near the bridge where the theologians and the growing crowd were gathering. When the procession reached the bridge, it was a moment of great solemnity. Pope Urban IV, in his pontifical robes, knelt in adoration of the Eucharist, represented by the relics. He reverently received the blood-stained corporal and the consecrated host, and joined the procession as they walked towards Orvieto. This event marked the first Eucharistic procession, which would become a central feature of the Corpus Christi celebration. Convinced by the theologians' verification and the spiritual significance of the event, Pope Urban IV decided to establish a solemn feast to honor the Eucharist. In 1264, he issued the bull Transiturus, officially creating the Feast of Corpus Christi. The bull emphasized the need to reaffirm belief in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist, especially during a time when various heresies were challenging this doctrine. The Pope saw the feast as a way to strengthen the faith of the faithful and promote Eucharistic devotion, highlighting miracles like the one at Bolsena as divine signs of Christ's presence in the consecrated bread and wine. After establishing the feast, Pope Urban IV took steps to ensure that the new celebration featured a rich and deeply spiritual liturgy. Recognizing the need for an appropriate rite that captured the essence and glory of the Eucharist, the Pope enlisted some of the most renowned theologians of his time to compose hymns and prayers for the solemnity. Among them were St. Thomas Aquinas and St. Bonaventure, both highly esteemed for their intellectual and spiritual contributions. When the time came to present the hymns, the theologians gathered before the Pope. St. Thomas Aquinas, known for his profound erudition and spirituality, was the first to present his composition. He recited his hymn Lauda Sion, which, through richly crafted verses, expressed the belief in the real presence of Christ in the Eucharist and the reverence due to this sacrament. St. Thomas's performance was so moving and inspiring that the other theologians, deeply touched by the perfection and spirituality of his words, humbly tore up their own manuscripts, acknowledging that his hymn perfectly captured the spirit and purpose of the new feast. Thus, Lauda Sion became the official hymn of Corpus Christi. This event not only highlighted St. Thomas Aquinas's extraordinary theological and poetic abilities, but also demonstrated the unity and humility among the greatest theologians of the Church in recognizing the most fitting work to glorify the Eucharist. The first celebration of Corpus Christi, instituted by Pope Urban IV, was a moment of profound devotion and joy in the Church. The festivity was meticulously planned to emphasize the importance of the Eucharist and reinforce faith in the real presence of Christ in the Blessed Sacrament. The inaugural celebration featured a solemn Eucharistic procession, an event that would become a central tradition of the feast. During this procession, the Blessed Sacrament was carried through the streets in a monstrance, allowing the faithful to worship and honor the presence of Christ in the Eucharist. The city of Orvieto, where Pope Urban IV was temporarily residing, became the focal point of this celebration. The significance of Orvieto in the history of Corpus Christi was underscored by the construction of a magnificent cathedral designed to house and preserve the blood-stained corporal, the main relic of the Bolsena miracle. Construction of the Orvieto Cathedral, known as the Duomo of Orvieto, began in 1290, a few years after the feast's institution. This cathedral is a masterpiece of Italian Gothic architecture, featuring a richly decorated facade and impressive interiors. The first celebration of Corpus Christi and the construction of the Orvieto Cathedral are intertwined events that established a lasting legacy of Eucharistic devotion, commemorating the Bolsena miracle and the vision of Saint Juliana of Liège. These events continue to inspire and strengthen the faith of many Christians, reaffirming the centrality of the Eucharist in the Church's life and the spirituality of the faithful. It is important to note that some religions may choose not to observe the Corpus Christi holiday for various reasons. Different faiths have their own beliefs and practices, which may not include the celebration of the Eucharist or the veneration of the host and wine as the body and blood of Christ. There may also be theological and interpretive differences regarding the nature of the Eucharist and biblical teachings. However, it is crucial to remember that regardless of religious differences, the core principles of faith in God, love, compassion, and mutual respect remain paramount. Thank you for joining us on this enlightening journey through the history and significance of Corpus Christi. As we've discovered, this feast is far more than a mere tradition. It is a profound expression of faith, deeply rooted in miraculous events and divine revelations. The story of Corpus Christi, from the doubts of a humble priest to the visions of Saint Juliana and the decisive actions of Pope Urban IV, reminds us of the enduring power of the Eucharist in our spiritual lives. The miraculous bleeding host at Bolsena, the establishment of the feast, and the creation of the beautiful Orvieto Cathedral all serve to deepen our understanding and reverence for the Holy Eucharist. This feast is a testament to the real presence of Christ in the Blessed Sacrament, a belief that lies at the very heart of our Christian faith. It is a call to renew our devotion and celebrate the Eucharist with profound gratitude and joy. As we conclude, let us take inspiration from the devout faith of those who came before us and strive to deepen our own spiritual connection to Christ. Let the story of Corpus Christi remind us of the miracles and divine grace that continue to enrich our faith. If you found this exploration of Corpus Christi insightful and enriching, please subscribe to Sacred Stories for more fascinating journeys through Christian history. Leave a like, share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to share this video with your church group, family, and friends. Together, we can continue to celebrate and spread the timeless stories of our faith. Thank you for watching, and may God bless you abundantly.